Okay, let's get started. So we'll start with some transitions between different seated positions. So do the best you can to get into a cross-legged position. And if it looks like this, then your back's not quite totally straight, that's okay. We're gonna work on pushing the back into that position. And then we're gonna transition from one seated position to another one. And each time you transition, use your hands to press yourself into that low back curve. I'll take my jacket off so you can see a little bit better. So rather than like this. And you can use your knees to help pull yourself up, whichever one assists you better. But the goal is to be able to do it on your own. So let's just cross back and forth, pulling the back into that nice straight position, top of the head toward the ceiling. So we're warming the hips up and the back for what we'll do later. Okay, so just crisscross each time, and then we'll add a couple. So you can slide your feet on the floor, and you don't have to be going as fast as I am in order to make that transition, or work on picking up and crossing. That'll start pulling your abs in a little bit more. And if you going back to make the transition hurts on your tailbone, just go on to one cheek and then go on to the other cheek to make the transition. But try not to lean back a lot to make the transition, because that'll work on your core. Okay, a couple more of these, and then we'll switch it up. Okay, so let's switch it up to one knee up and one knee down, and then pull into that upright position. And then the other one. I think this one's a little bit harder. So up as high as you can. And again, if you need to use your arms and to press a little bit deeper, that works on arm strength and mobility in your hips and back. And they seem like simple movements. You'll probably feel it tomorrow. Try a few with your leg out a little bit farther, the knee still bent, and some with the knee in closer. And you can tell the difference. Okay, back and forth a couple more times. This is something that you can do anytime while you're watching TV. Okay, now let's put the knee all the way straight, and then we'll transition. And use your arms as you need to with your body or on the floor. We've got the hamstrings straight now, which is gonna stretch that out a little bit more each time we come into that really upright position. Okay. Try legs in front, legs moving more out to the side. And moving at your pace. You don't have to be going at my pace. Move at a pace that's safe for you. Challenge yourself. The goal is to challenge, but be successful, be able to do it. Don't push yourself so hard that you give up. Find that just right. Middle path. I considered calling my fitness stuff the middle path fitness. Avoiding extremes, not doing nothing, but not beating the heck out of your body. Just finding that middle path so that you take your body in lots of different positions and get blood flowing to areas that wouldn't normally in your day. So finding that middle ground to stay healthy, but not kill yourself in the process, because we're not designed to want to exercise. If you don't want to exercise, you should not feel guilty about that, because it's actually not a normal thing for human beings. Okay, all right, let's choose another position for our legs to go into. Why don't we take a little break from that though and go on our tummy just to stretch the hip flexors out a little bit. Okay, let's push back up. And we'll go back to our seated positions. This time we're going to cross the right leg over the left. And you can cross below the knee or above the knee. Let's all start below the knee. And so we'll come up, nice tall seated position, cross the other side. And we'll go back and forth. Use your core or your hands to get yourself in that upright position. So tonight, I don't want anybody signing off too early, but we're going to jump tonight. And when I learned I had to be able to jump up to the height of my own knees for the certification, I almost backed out. But I had already paid the fee, so I thought I'll go anyway. And if I can't do it, at least I've learned a lot. But I was able to do it. And when I first started jumping, probably about 4 months before the certification process, I started jumping up onto a 1-inch level platform. And that's where it started. Tonight, we're not even going to go that high unless you want to. I'll give you the opportunity. Okay, so let's go to, if you can, just get closer to the knee or go above the knee. And then we'll transition. Okay, a lot more core to lift that leg up. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're not designed to want to exercise. There's a really great book out right now by Daniel Lieberman called Exercised, and he's a researcher that has looked a lot at evolutionary psychology and evolutionary behavior in human beings, and studies a lot of indigenous tribes, cultures, and this one's hard. I'm having to help myself. And they don't exercise. The strength and the movement and the mobility that they have in their bodies is excellent, but they get it from just doing life. We just have so many conveniences and furniture that we don't get the same movement, so we don't get the same mobility and the same strength to keep us healthy and injury free. So we have to do it through exercise unless we're going to give up a lot of our conveniences. Okay, let's pause here for a little stretch. So just cross one leg over the other, sit up real tall, and then press the chest forward to get a nice deep stretch through here. And then let's go to the other side. So before we move on to the jumping part, we're going to do some roll-ups. So roll-ups are another really great exercise for the core, and you get a lot of different kinds of pressure into your back and your body. So if you have any kind of osteopenia, osteoporosis, it doesn't mean you can't do it. Go really slow and make sure you have plenty of cushion under your back. So we'll start with just holding on to the knees and then round your back and rock back up. If this doesn't feel safe to you, then go back and do some of the more transitions with your hips. If this feels okay, go ahead and do some rocking up. Hi, Maddie. If it's hard for you to get back up, use your feet to create some momentum. So roll back, let your knees go a little straight, and then kick them forward. You can hold on to your legs to help you as well, but eventually trying to get to that place where you can let go of your legs. Maddie, you're not making it easy for people to see. Okay. Another option that you can use is to get something heavy. Okay, go on. Go. Get something heavy. For example, this is a 12-pound ball. You wouldn't need something this heavy. Even if you just had a hand weight that was a couple pounds. Now we have boo. Everybody just finished their dinner and they're coming to say hi. If you have something heavier, that will help give you the momentum to bring yourself forward. It's another good tool to learn your squats as well. Okay, so if you, sometimes I'll have trouble with my tailbone when I'm rocking. Again, roll onto one hip and then up, and then the other glute and then up. It's also kind of a nice massage of the muscles of the spine and of the glutes. Okay, so let's try the rocking, but coming up into a different seated position. So rocking back and then coming up into a cross-legged position. Rocking back, opposite cross-legged position. Rocking back, one knee up, one knee down. Rocking back, other knee up, one knee down. Okay, if you've had enough of this, just go back to the seated transitions with knees bent and knees long. If you want to continue to advance this skill, we're going to go from a rock to a seated position to a excuse me, kneeling position. So coming up onto the knee. So start with coming up to the one knee up, one knee down, and then throw your arms forward gently to pull yourself up. And if you don't want to come all the way up, that's okay. Just come up into that forward position, getting the tush off the floor. Now the other thing to notice is my feet. So we're coming up into a heel off the floor position, which is going to help warm up our feet for the jumping. Again, we're not going to jump high. But this is, if you get good at this technique and you develop enough core strength, you can eventually use that technique to get all the way off the ground. And it actually creates enough momentum that it's actually an easier way to get up off the ground than some of the other ones you might know. Okay. All right, let's push pause on that one and let's get a deeper foot stretch going. So let's curl the back toe under, left toe under. We'll bring the front knee forward and just lean into it. You can use blocks or something if you need to help support yourself. You could also use the seat of your chair to support yourself in this stretch. And I would encourage you, if you're somebody who wears shoes all the time, go really easy into the jumping, and I'll give you the options for that. But I would encourage you to try to go without shoes. I had a conversation with a new client yesterday And her physician had told her she had plantar fasciitis. They gave her a cortisone injection into her foot, and then he told her to wear shoes all the time, including in the house. And of course, that made me cringe. And I said, well, let me tell you what I think, and then you can make your own call. Okay, so let's curl the back toes under. Okay, a little less than 90-degree step forward, and then stretch into it. And let that heel come off the ground a little bit. So putting shoes on 24, or not 24, you wouldn't wear them to bed, but you're not moving or getting pressure into your feet in bed, but wearing shoes all the time is essentially splinting your feet. And we know when we wear a splint on our wrists or hands or anywhere else in our body that the muscles atrophy, they get stiff and weak, and they atrophy. So putting shoes on your feet all the time actually makes them stiffer and weaker. So you're more likely to get injured when you do go without shoes. And that often happens. People experience re-injury when they get out of bed in the morning and they're walking to the bathroom. Just that initial weight on really weak feet can cause a lot of inflammation. Okay, let's go back to the other side again. Curl the toes under. So if you're going to transition to no shoes, just do it some of the time. If that's hard, then one of the best things to do, and what I often recommend to people who work on hard flat surfaces all day, people in hospitals, schools, bring different pairs of shoes and switch throughout the day at least once or twice, so you get a different shape of the sole of the shoe, at least forms your foot into a different shape, and you maintain some mobility. Okay, let's push back and do the other side again. The best thing you can do is take off your shoes and walk on natural ground. That's what your feet are designed to be detecting, is all the different shapes of natural ground, so we keep our balance better. And let's push back. Okay, we'll come up into standing, and this is where you may want your chair. We're going to just do some squatting to continue to prepare our body for the jumping. So if you need a target, if you need a higher target, grab a pillow and put that in. If you weren't in that class, trying to create a target to sit back on and touch and come up, so you're using good technique. Sometimes having that target makes you feel a little bit more safe, and you have something to land on if you get fatigued. Okay, so our good squat technique, feet should be pointing straight forward, knees should be pointing straight forward. Try to keep the knees above the feet and just start slowly sitting back. You don't have to go all the way down to the chair, but we want to eventually be able to get there. If you're feeling any tweakiness in your knees, make sure they're not moving in towards each other. They're staying above the ankles. And the knees are really only going to go forward past the feet when you're all the way down into a full squat. So really work on sending your tailbone back and pushing up through your heels. We're just going to keep going. So part of what we're doing is building strength. That's what we're doing in this natural movement class. Building it in a way that's not killing our bodies, helping us create stronger, more resilient bodies. Let's keep going at your pace. You need a little break, stand up or sit down, take a breather. Okay, if you don't need the chair, you can have this option as well, is just use the chair for a little bit of balance so you can start going a little bit lower. Just don't pull back on it so it falls. But eventually, you want to be able to get low and have your own strength to push yourself back up, creating that balance. Trying to do as many squats as you can throughout the day, putting things low so you have to squat. Emptying the dishwasher. Take the opportunity to squat. Let's just do a couple more. And we'll call that good. Okay, now keep your chair nearby if you know you have a little bit of balance issue, keep the chair nearby while we practice the jumping. Okay, so for jumping, we're also gonna have our feet in best posture, which is pointing straight ahead, not out to the side. So double check that they're pointing forward. We also want the knees pointing forward. And as I've said in other classes, women tend to have tight inner thighs because we cross our legs. So make sure your knees are pointing forward, especially when they bend, because they are a hinge joint. Okay, now we're just gonna practice just rolling up onto the feet and pushing up. And let's keep our arms relaxed. Roll on the heels, roll on the balls of the feet. Back and forth. Try to keep your toes as relaxed as they can be. Don't grab the ground with them. Use the balls of your feet more when you come up. Now in jumping technique, one of the most important things is to try to be soft, landing softly so that you're not making a lot of sound. The more sound you make, the more intensity or the harder it is on your body. Okay. Just changing positions. You can keep doing that. You can probably feel what that's doing into your calves, even up into your thighs and hips. Okay, so now let's practice going really slowly down. And then when you come down, I want you to go into that squat. Come up on your toes and into the squat. Up on the toes, into the squat. Now the other thing I'd like you to notice as I'm going into my squat, my arms are coming up. So when we eventually learn to jump as you come down, the arms go up to counterbalance that landing motion. So up on the balls of the feet, into the squat. And hold on to your chair. You need that little bit of stability. Now when you start learning to jump higher, then you use your arms to create the motion and to land the motion. And that really took me a while to learn. Okay, up on the balls, down into the squat. Okay, all right, let's just do a quick hip flexor stretch before we move on. I'm doing good for time. Okay. Let's stretch the calves too. That's a lot for the calves. So we're just going to step back, try to keep the body upright, press back through the back heel. Okay. Okay, so let's try just really easy jumping in place. Okay, so slight bend, move into the balls of the feet, then back down. And you don't even barely have to come off the ground. Okay, so what I want you to pay attention as you do it is make sure the knees aren't coming in, the knees are staying out. So if you have to look down, but just barely look down. So you're not bringing too much body weight forward. Just jumping high enough that someone could pull a piece of paper out from underneath. And if that feels pretty good and you want to jump a little bit higher, you can try it. Make sure when you land, it's nice and soft and you're going down into that squat. Okay, then once you start to fatigue a little bit, just take a little walk and shake it out. Okay, the next thing we'll try, and then we'll go back to that, is a little bit of a side jump. So landing on one foot, really soft, going down into that squat, really soft. Okay, we've done side stepping before, but never really called it a jump. This time we're going to build a little baby jump into it. Coming down into that squat, letting the arms come forward. And then we'll do another kind of jump after we fatigue a little bit with this one. Okay, you can get a little wider with your jump if you want to try that. Hi, Boo. Try to make sure you're nice and quiet. Feet are very quiet. Here, all of the foot comes down first, then the heel. All right, let's call that good. We'll take a little walk. Okay, so the next kind of jump I want to show you is probably the kind of jump that you would use if you were going to jump over a small puddle or something. Okay, so it's called a leg swing jump, and we've done leg swings, and maybe we should warm up with a few of those. Trying to find your balance, putting the weight into the left side and just swinging the right leg. Finding your core strength, slowly increasing the swing, but maintaining your balance and stability in your body. Okay, let's swing on to the other side. So ground the right foot mostly in the heel, and ground with the balls of the feet. Swing, use the core, start with a small swing till you find your stability, and then slowly increase the pendulum as your body can maintain stability with the movement. It's pretty amazing how quickly your body can change with the right kind of exercise. And I love exercise that challenges you differently every time. Okay, so with the leg swing jump, you're going to want to keep your ground the left knee, keep it soft, and then we swing the leg, and then the leg creates the momentum, and then we land. Okay, so you might play a little bit, decide whether you want to try your left leg or right leg first. Make sure you come into the squat and the arms come up on the landing. Land on your toes, and then the heel comes down. It doesn't have to be far, it can be a few inches. Probably wouldn't jump over a few inch puddle. You have to start somewhere. Okay, if you feel yourself coming down on your whole foot, then just don't focus on the arms or the squat, just focus on the sensation of coming down on the ball of the foot and then the heel landing. And just switch back between your feet. Just a couple swings, a little hop, and then a land. And if you have knee stuff going on, just go back to the up onto the ball of the foot. And don't go too far. If you lose your balance, you can also hold your chair and practice. Thinking about making sure the knees aren't coming together. If anything, they can be moving apart more than together. Okay, all right, time is going. Let's go to the board or the string. So take a minute to either get your board or set up your string or the edge of your mat. If you need to get a little drink, get a little drink. Okay, so I would definitely recommend, if you are really just beginning to work on this movement, then don't jump over anything with any height. Just jump over a piece of string, a piece of TheraBand or your yoga strap, whatever you have handy. Because if you're don't have the right kind of strength, you catch your toe, down you're going to go. But if you have some good strength and you were able to do the leg swing jump fairly well, you might try jumping onto the board or jumping over the board. But let's start with actually jumping off the board, because I think everybody can do that. If you need to hold your chair, hold your chair. So we're going to start on the balls of the feet. Make sure your knees are positioned correctly and the toes are pointing straight forward. Whoop. Okay, all we're going to do is try to land as softly as possible. Come back either on your string, if you're on your board, wherever you're at, landing as softly as possible. Balls of the feet, then the heels. Small movement, but we're going to feel it. Okay, if you really want to, we've got all levels in this class, so I try to give all levels. If you really are ready to upgrade, come all the way down and then back up. And I know there's some people in this class that I don't know. I'm 54. I'm a grandma. If I could do it, anybody can do it. Okay. Okay, if you want to upgrade one more time, then we're actually going to jump over. So get yourself fairly close, I would say probably 3 or 4 inches from your board. Position yourself in that good position, toes and knees forward. And you might want to create a little momentum with your hands. We're not going to get too picky with the technique, but really start from that tush back, tailbone back position, and then land soft. Okay, try jumping over your swing or your strap first before you try your board if you're not so sure. Have your chair help you as you jump and create that stability for you if you need it. I'm really sweating, at least I am today. Okay, and you can just turn around and do it again. Okay, all right, so if you want to take it one more level and you decide where yours are at, but I like to show everybody so that as you progress, because if you keep at it, you will progress quickly. what you can do next. The next is actually landing on the board. So I would touch it with your feet a few times so you know where it is. Use your chair if you need to. Look down at the board and then jump up onto it. Jump off. This will kick in a heck of a lot of balance too. Even if it's not something you want to do at all, go back to doing anything else with the seated positions. And the next level is going to be a full squat down and then up and off. Okay, a couple more at wherever you're at, and then we'll go to some balance. All right, let's start cooling down. And we'll do that by going into a little bit of balance. So some reminders of your balance technique, whether you are on the board, string, or an edge of your mat. Keep the body upright, keep the body soft, keep the arms soft and at your side, not out here right away so they can catch you if you need to. Tap with the front of the foot to feel the surface that you're moving to, then bring the heel down. Touch, heel down, transfer the weight. Touch, heel down, transfer the weight. Okay, and then backward, same thing. Touch the toe down, bring the heel down, transfer the weight. Soft body, head up, don't look down at your feet. That brings a lot of your body weight forward and will throw you off. Okay, so back and forth a few times, looking straight forward. Find something in the horizon to look at. Back and forth. Okay, and if you want to try a few turns, I'll refresh you with the turns. So the more stable turn is to have the weight on your back foot, turn the front foot to the side so that the whatever you're on is in the arch. Shift the weight, pivot on the back foot. Okay, I'll do it in this direction. Weight on the back foot, turn the front foot sideways, pivot on the back foot, and then resume. Okay, and if you're in a hurry and you need to turn more quickly because you're walking across the tree and there's a big snake on the other side, then you transfer the weight to the balls of the feet, pivot quickly, and then keep moving. Pivot, keep moving. That one's harder. That's why you keep your body soft so that your arms can come out and catch you if they need to. Practice turning in both directions too. All right, really time to cool down, get some stretching in. Okay, if you have a half roll to stretch your calves on, I'm gonna grab one quick. It's over here at my standing desk. This is one of the best things to stretch your calves on. If you don't have one of these, then just do a press back like we did before, but this will really stretch your calves and mimic what you might experience out in the real world, walking up a hill, walking up on a curb. So let's just stretch the calves. Let's get a little arm stretch in while we're doing that. Okay, let's go to the other calf. Stretch it through. Now let's take our shoulders through their full range of motion. Keep the shoulders soft. Down away from the ears. Let's go the other direction. Oh, little side bends. Little twist. Let's take our hips through a full range. Just a short hamstring stretch. Hinge from the hips, flat back. All right, we are ready to wrap up. If there are any questions, you are always welcome to email me at marewellness@gmail.com. But for now, let's take one more big breath. Come down, hands through prayer, stop at the heart, and namaste. Good girl. Okay, have a good night, everybody.